So our vision is a generation with an opportunities are everywhere mindset, fueling innovation and hope for our communities, country, and the world. Now, I say that because the opportunities are everywhere mindset is daunting. Right now, we are filled with a lot of messages that everything is wrong in the world, the COVID and all these other things that are bad, but there's a lot of opportunities there. And I really, by the time we end today, I'm hoping that's the one thing you're going to walk away with. There are so many opportunities in your own backyard that I want you to be really, really aware of those things. So our core values, yes, opportunities are everywhere. Not everyone has to be an entrepreneur. We should all think like one among a lot of things. And really, our future economy will rely on people and look for opportunities to build solutions. So, obviously, now you know what? I probably should have, but not everybody knows who this guy is, right? Who's this guy? Yell it out. Never said that. Although you are funny, right? A little bit. Elon Musk. Although, man, actually, ooh, got bass here. Hello. So, I instead of putting Elon Musk up there, maybe I should. I really want to scan to see who really knows this person. Who here has heard of a guy named Mr. Beast? By the way, adults, please take a look around. Hands up. How many people have heard of Mr. Beast? Legend. Right? Am I right? Legend. Who knows how Mr. Beast started? Like, for real knows how he started. You do? Come here.
You clip this on clip it on your pants or your shirt.
Oh no. Oh no. Come on. I didn't know I was going to be a guest speaker today. Are you ready for this? Awesome. All right. I am here with
Gracie Defer.
Gracie. Gracie. Hand. She has a lot of. Okay, so Gracie, tell us how Mr. Beast started.
Mr. Beast started with
Your mic, man. Rock it.
Mr. Beast started with Chris and started making silly YouTube videos, and then eventually it grew as a giant passion, and he dropped out of college, like most YouTubers did, and yeah, that's actually a very high statistic. And well, after he dropped out of college, he moved in with Chris, and the YouTube just blew up after they did more challenging videos, did like counting to 100,000, stuff like that. They blew up.
Yes.
And then they donated a bunch of money, and basically he did his stuff at a loss, and then he basically did more money than he had, and then earned the money and kept going with that until the money got a lot bigger, and that's how Mr. Beast is famous to where he is.
Give her a hand. So yeah, very good. So Mr. Beast really saw a problem as an opportunity. By the way, and this is one of my next door neighbors works on his team, and years ago he was telling me what he was doing. I'm like, that's insane, because yeah, they were just like doing dumb, and I mean this in a loving way, but like challenges. They're like, how could anybody sit through that long? And then as they were getting money, then he was donating it. That makes no sense. But he knew what he was doing. One, they had a problem that some of the YouTube influencers, I won't say who they are, but they wanted to be the anti-influencer. They wanted to give back. Probably my favorite one, there's a lot of them, but I like it when he went and bought a grocery store for the adults in the room. This guy, he's went to a car, like a buy here, pay here lot in the low income area, bought all the cars and started selling them for $1 or $5. The people didn't believe me. He's like, all right, I'll give you $1,000 to take this car off my hand. He went to go empower people that needed transportation. When he bought a grocery store, he had his legions of fans go and pack up everything. Matter of fact, he got on PA. He's like, hey, if you're shopping here, go ahead and just leave. I'll pay for all of it anyway. And then he got his fans, put them in trucks, and he went to the 3 food pantries, or maybe 4 in the area, and donated all the food. I love this because today's lesson is see a problem as an opportunity and build your network. And I really think that, I'm going to change the slides from here on out. Most all high schoolers now know who Mr. Beast is. So I see that, and I want to give you a more localized example. So again, I run Innovate Within, where hopefully you guys will apply. Innovate Within, we're not just wanting you to be entrepreneurial, we're wanting you to be entrepreneurial minded. These two students, and by the way, I'm not trying to pick favorites, they're great stories about something that you can start with from the classroom. So my students over here over to the left, by the way, they were freshmen last year. They were our winners. They started off with their problem that in Hobart, Indiana, their humane society was underfunded and in not great condition. But they also appreciated it because it was a no-kill shelter. So they're like, how can we make money for our humane society? And so they're like, okay. Then they thought of another problem they didn't like, and that was fast fashion. Sometimes you buy t-shirts that say 4th of July 2022 and you wear it for one day, and then it's landfill. I mean, sometimes you work out in it and use it as a dust cloth, but for the most part, you throw fast fashion away. And they didn't like that. So what they decided to do is that they decided, hey, we're going to go to the local farmer's market and ask people to upcycle. They were asking for jeans and they were asking for t-shirts and socks. I know what you're thinking. But what they did is they shredded the socks and the t-shirts, and then the jeans, they were cutting out patterns of a dog bone. And what they were doing is they were repurposing the jeans and making dog toys, selling dog toys then at the local farmer's market. Here's the problem. They were able to make about 10 a week. And so they had 25, and in the first 2 minutes of their stand, all 25 were purchased. And then that's when they realized that they were onto something, but then they also discovered through our small business development centers that there was a place called Trade Winds, not too far from them. And those hired special needs adults. And one of the things they did was they sewn and they assembled products. So now, 2 15-year-old girls are responsible for hiring more special needs adults, who the unemployment rate of special needs adults is astronomical. But because the 2 15-year-old girls had an idea and decided to collaborate with others, they're not only making good money, good for them, they made a lot of money, but they're impacting their community. So they could complain, hey, our humane society sucks. They did something. And I think, bless you, and I think that's the important thing. The girl over to my right, Namish, in her Project Lead the Way biomed class, was learning about how tilapia skin can adhere to human skin, and it will, like especially for burn victims, it might be a solution. Well, then she realized, she's like, okay, what could that be done if I decided to work with the Department of Natural Resources, because there's a species of fish here called Asian carp, and we're trying to kill as many Asian carp as possible because they're really bad for the environment and they're just not good fish. And so she started talking to the DNR. I want to be able to create a fish skin bandage for burn victims using basically an invasive species. So she worked with the DNR and they go, we will give you as much fish as you possibly want because we're just slaughtering them. So she's starting to design a fish skin bandage. Both of these kids started a business concept off of $0. The fish skin was free. The research was provided by her high school teacher. The girls, they went to the local farmer's market. I love these stories because both of them started with a problem and they wanted to build a solution. The other part I want to talk to you about is how to build your network. And this is really, really important. Matter of fact, you guys can shout it out. Maybe you know this mantra. It's not what you know, it's who you know. How many people, well, I'm not going to say this. Sometimes people say that and they're bothered by it. Like, well, it's not fair. Well, if it's not what you know, it's who you know, then what's the solution? And that is knowing more people. You guys live in the greatest time ever to know people. And I was just talking to Senator Thompson and his wife about this. This is the greatest tool ever. It's the worst tool ever. Right now, you can connect with thousands of people, millions of people, instantly, for good or bad reason. This device has also led to more suicide, anxiety, depression, bad messaging. And so you have a decision to make. What do I want to use this for? It is a trap. is an algorithmic trap to like, hey, this person is on TikTok just dancing. Why can't I be famous? And so you do that TikTok video, which by the way, first of all, if you are creating content, at least you're creating content. 90% of people are consumers, scroll, and you wonder why you're not popular. And 10% of people are producers. But even the people that produce sometimes get depressed because they're like, all right, I did my dance video. Why am I not famous yet? And it's a really hard thing for people to understand. Well, first of all, when you create content like that, and I'm not trying to be mean, you're being like everybody else. There's a reason why the first adopters a lot of times are called influencers. They've influenced you to copy them. And we've seen it. But the girls that I just showed you before, they took to social media as well. And their stuff blew up. Why? Because that's inspirational. That's not sexualized. That's not political. That's just good. And your generation, again, wonderful job of, I'll tell you what stinks about this. I see a problem in my community. I've done my part. I put it on Instagram. Did you? Or did you complain online? And by the way, nothing wrong with complaining online, but if that's all you're doing, that's not moving the needle. What I'm inspired by is the people that use social media to connect with people. I'm here today for two reasons. Number one, I taught for 21 years, really do miss the classroom. So I want to connect with students again and let you know, I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, want you to live a life with purpose. That's cliche, I get it. But instead of worrying about just getting the right grades and getting into the right school, I want you to connect with things that you like. And the thing that used to scare me, because I had a class called Innovation and Open Source Learning. And sometimes in the midst of my students working on things, they're like, I hate this. This sucks. I cannot tell you how many kids are like, I want to learn how to code. I'm going to use the innovation class to learn how to code. By the way, if you're a coder and you love it, great. It's not for everybody. But when they started to discover things and try things and realize they didn't like it, thank God. That's called changing your major. It's going to run you $25,000. So you might as well discover right now either what you love, what you thought you might love, but you don't. And that's great. That's awesome. But the whole point of that is doing. And so when you're at this age, you're either going to identify the things you love, or the exact opposite of that is the things that bother you in this world. I was just made aware of a great news story from a young lady at the school that got a CBS News down here for an event. Like, that's amazing. Proving that it's possible, but that was something that bothered her. All these student projects, most things on Innovate Within, it's something that they're bothered by. I can't tell you how many times we have students go, I want to start a food truck. We're like, why? Food trucks are cool. Respect, they are. What problem are they solving? And I had one student go, oh, I live in a not too great area of Indianapolis. It's a food desert. I think that I could get a grant from the USDA. And I think because I will have healthy alternatives, I'll not only try to sell healthy food at an affordable cost, I'll even pass out recipes. You healthier. I want to start a food truck, cool. I want to empower my community, coolest. I just went from a comparative. Sorry. This is why I'm inspired by this. So the other thing here is your micro and your macro network, and this is my challenge to you. Your macro network, you can get on LinkedIn right now, or better yet, walk to the businesses you're going to meet today. Your macro network are the people in, I think I even have a slide. Boom. The people that are already right here in your area. People at GF, Valero, WSI, AstraZeneca, etc. Connect with them. That's going to build your macro network. And then your micro network is specifically, maybe your dad has a friend in accounting, at BWXT. Your mayor and your local senator are here today. Some people are going to nod, and some people are going to shake hands and make eye contact. Those people that are willing to lean in are winning. We had a student 3 years ago. She made a LinkedIn post on why more females need to be in positions of leadership and entrepreneurship. Someone, and I thought it was a joke at first, someone at the United Nations saw it. And they're like, we need for you to say that here. And they brought her up to the UN. If you're willing to stick your neck out a little bit and lead, you're going to win. And even if it's in a sense of just local. But that's why when you build your macro and micro network, it's important. So again, seeing a problem as an opportunity, huge. Building your network could lead to more and more and more opportunities. And I think that as we talk to employers, and again, you're going to meet a lot of them, we ask them, what do you think of our current job boards? What do you think of our current pipeline of talent? And they're like, it's okay. We have a lot of people getting a lot of degrees, which is great. But a lot of times, and I'm not trying to excuse the power of continuing education, but a lot of new things are skills-based. There's a lot of jobs that require no college education. And again, respect if you want to go either way. But what they're looking for now is, can you solve a problem? Can you oh man, please, swear to God, if you take a job interview and you're looking at your phone the whole time, you're not going to get hired. So what are your qualifications? Stuff. Why do you want to work here? I'm sorry. That is their biggest complaint. And if that's you and you're really like, shoot, that's me. It's like, don't. Meet these people, connect with people. The ability, and I sometimes like, oh, some of these things are so cliche. Like teamwork. And by the way, school leaders, I'm going to challenge you. Sometimes teamwork was seen as cheating. In the rest of the world, it's seen as collaboration. However, students, I'm going to call you out. Actually, I've got a funny joke. Please laugh. After. But thank you for the prep. When I die, I want my pallbearers to be the people I had my group projects with in high school, so they can let me down one last time. Let me do that again. There we go. When I die, I want my pallbearers to be at my funeral so they can let me down one last time. A little bit better. So when you guys work as teams, when you guys collaborate, that is among the most highly skilled thing they're looking for. All right, so I don't want you to I'm coming from Indianapolis, telling you that I see a lot of things going on in Southern Indiana, in which I do. I'm going all over the state. There are a lot of things going on that I'm impressed by and I want to continue to see. And that's why I've invited some of my really esteemed colleagues to come up and say a few words to kind of really double down on some of the opportunities here in Southern Indiana. So, first, Senator Thomas, come on over.
Here today, and I just want to say that it is a lot different right now, because there's not a week that goes by that I don't get calls from employers and different people that have businesses that are looking for workers to help them. There's so many opportunities out there right now. The trade unions are looking for people willing to get into the apprenticeship programs. And these are really good paying jobs. A lot of them are really high-tech jobs. Service industry, communication companies, production companies, law enforcement. Trying to find somebody coming to the academy to fill the ranks because they need more officers, state police, local, county sheriff, city police, military. There's so many opportunities in the military for jobs, and these are really, some of these jobs are very high tech. It's not all infantry work. It's all kinds of advanced technology that's available for young people to find good employment, good pay, good benefits. About 2 weeks ago, I was at Crane Naval Facility, and that is a really interesting place where they do a lot of high-tech technology in optics, communications, work with drones, the advancements of defense systems. They're also going to be tasked with the development of the hypersonic missile. They're working on that right now. Cybersecurity. And also, Crane works with entrepreneurs who have a product that they're working on. Crane will help them develop that product and get it to the market. So these are things that's out there right now available, and they are desperately looking for people to come in and fill those positions. So I just want to thank you. Before I go, I'm going to support you. It's going to be better than this. This guy's driving through the neighborhood, and he sees a sign in the yard, talking dog, for sale, $10. He pulls over. He's out of the car, he walks back, and he's out there in the front yard working his fire department. Stop there, talking about That's the guy in his back. So he goes back there, and there's this dog in his pen, starts talking in an incredible conversation. I mean, he's telling this guy all the places he's been to. He's been over to Europe, to France, the Eiffel Tower, tours he's been to the country, all of his travel. This guy is stunned by this dog. He walks back and he asks him, I can't believe it. I never seen anything like this. Why just $10? The guy says because he's a liar, he's never been out of his backyard.
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you very much,
All right, up next. So again, from the state perspective, we've brought Dr. Rebecca Estes. She's with the Department of Education. I'm going to let her say a few words on some of the things she's seen here in Mount Vernon.
Is probably one of the things that I'm most passionate about in my life. So I want to take a minute and just thank all the educators. If you're an educator, really, would you stand up for just a second?
Teachers, get up.
I know they're like, God. We were students, give them a round of applause. You know, incredible people in this room that are here to support you in your passions. And one of the things that I'm excited about with the partnership with Innovation and Startup Foundation is really just the opportunity to impact your passions and to put people in your pathway through your educational career to help ignite those fires and then support you beyond. So at the Department of Education, we are committed to supporting educators in those efforts to think outside the box. And we know that schools are often the hub for everything that happens beyond your life. So take that opportunity to have conversations because that's going to pay off dividends in your life. So I feel like I didn't come prepared with a joke. However, Don mentioned that we have this tool in our hands, so it took all of 10 seconds because you've got some great Wi-Fi here. And I'll end my statement with a joke too, but I need you to play along. Not Tank. You're welcome.
Hey! Hey! You leave the dad jokes to me. All right. Lastly, we have Mayor Curtis. You want to say a few words as well. Pressure's on if you have a good joke. If you don't, I'll try to fill it.
Right over there on that group, probably in the same position some people are in, wondering what I was going to do next. And I've heard a lot of good things this morning. When Don talked about changing your mind, not getting locked in, I knew what I was going to do actually when I was sitting there. But 7 years, 4 majors. Later, I was doing something entirely different. But what I really want to say is you are so lucky to live in southwestern Indiana. You really don't know. And you probably don't think you're that lucky, guys. But we have industry here that offers jobs. They're begging for people to work. And the jobs are from PhDs to entry level and with many, many technical skills. So you have every opportunity in the world to stay here if you want to. On the other hand, hey, if you want to go out and see the world, you can do that. And then 7 years later, like I did, you can come back and live here and be happy the rest of your life. I don't have a joke, seriously. But I want to tell you that the opportunities to work here are so great that a man who can have 60% ham sandwiches, 60% turkey sandwiches, can be the principal of a high school.
Senator Tom, we got upstate. That was good. That was a good joke. That was a good joke. let me triple down and then wrap. A couple of things that Senator Tom said I wanted to circle back to, and Mr. Curtis. You're going to meet employers. But as he was saying, Crane Naval Base, Battery Innovation Center. There's even a thing here called the Indy Autonomous Challenge. If you haven't heard of it, I implore you to look it up. Indy cars are now racing themselves. They're now programming Indy cars, and we've been there from the beginning. Actually, we work a lot with them. At first, they were going 5 miles an hour and hitting walls. Now they're doing about 185, 190 by themselves. And the race car driver is the programmer. It's a strange world right now. We're adapting fast. And the people that are getting the jobs, sometimes there's just skills that are going to pop up. This is why a lot of people in careers have to do continuing education units, because the world is changing so rapidly. That means advantage you. Your ability to be adaptive and see what's coming up. Because I had a little saying in our class. There are seekers and peakers, and there's moaners and groaners. Remember this. Moaners and groaners complain about what is. Seekers and peakers are what we're trying to foster. Opportunity seekers, like you guys can spot trends a mile away. You guys are seeking opportunity by listening to people complain. I'm going to keep hammering that in. Because every time I hear, you know what sucks? No, tell me. Like I remember years ago, like my class started the nation's first school-recognized esports team 8 years ago. It was way early. Because we were seeking opportunities, but here's where it gets dangerous. Peakers are different. Peakers can look around the corner and go, this is going to be popular. Sometimes it's peakers that says like, hey, I found this new SoundCloud artist. They're going to blow up. Awesome. Okay, I saw this new TikTok artist. That's also being a peaker. Peakers can see what's coming up and adapt to it and get ready for it. Some of the careers, I know you guys have already heard this, the jobs of tomorrow don't have any prerequisite right now. They haven't been formed yet. We're constantly evolving, constantly iterating and starting new things. And that's why the state, and Governor Holcomb especially, is counting on you to come up with ideas. The 2 girls with Patchables, it was a good idea that was made better by their mentors. And lastly, some of these jobs may not be exactly in this region. Most people now are going remote, which that's another thing that your generation, like, believe it or not, COVID has actually prepared you for jobs of the future, because a lot of them are going to be remote. You guys had experience with that. So I just want you to know that those opportunities are going to be there. I also want to give you our timeline. So I keep saying find a problem as an opportunity. I really do hope you apply. I'll have a QR code. Hope your teachers will also have it. But we just launched not too long ago, and there is free lessons. They're 7-ish minutes videos, but we kind of walk you through this
program to get your opportunity out there. And I'm telling you, it's because we have a ton of opportunities. In this, first of all, for the teachers in the audience, if you go through this, it's technically box 2 is checked. It is a project-based outcome, and it is a graduation requirement, and it's done. If you just go through this. Number 2, if you go through it and just complete round 1, there are 14 different universities from around the state that want to give you a $4,000 scholarship. That's $1,000 per year if you stay all 4 years. That's basically for trying. Now, mind you, it may not be your college of choice. You're like, well, I wanted to have, well, actually most schools in Indiana now do it. But it's $1,000 for more or less trying. Although I will say the really big schools, it has to be a school of, like Indiana, it's the engineering school, and anyway, but University of Evansville and all these other places, it's their scholarship. If you win into round 1 and go on to round 2, you immediately get some services by your Small Business Development Center. If you win round 2, you win $1,000 per person per team. If you have a team of 3, you win $3,000. And if you're on that team, you get an all-expense trip paid to, I think this year it's to DC. It's first class all the way, man. You don't pay anything for it, we do. Also, if you're a round 2 finalist, the colleges start really upping the value of the scholarship. So now you're in the top 10 of the state. If you're in the top 10 of the state, scholarships are really impressive, and if you win, it's $25,000 in cash. It's an additional $10,000 in 529 college savings per person. You don't split it. And again, an opportunity now for you to be a part of our alumni network. Not trying to brag, but our alumni network is getting insane. This year, we did it in a hurry. We met our really good friends at Dallara and Ferrari. So they flew us out to Italy to be guests at Ferrari, Lamborghini, and Maserati. Not a bad vacation. The Alumni Association is the best of the best. If you're in this, you get some really cool opportunities. We now have an opportunity, I think, this year to go to London as well. And all these things happen because people they want to know you, not me. They're in this outright war for top talent. And how do they know they're talented? Opportunities like this. So I implore you, please consider applying to Innovate Within. This is not a sales pitch, but if you do, I promise you, it's the worst case scenario. You're going to go through a process, you saw something you wanted to improve, and you wanted to turn it into an event, a service, an app, a business. If you go through that, I think it's rewarding in and of itself. And lastly, I'm being dead serious. Shake hands, meet people. The employers are here not because they're looking for a day off work. They're here to recruit. They're here to tell you that our company is a great place to work. Even if you're like, I don't really want to work there, talk to them anyway. Because it's not what you know, it's I implore you to know more people. And lastly, please, I from the bottom of my heart, be a producer, not just a consumer. If you are using social media, show people what you're doing. Show people what you're trying to achieve. I think that so many of us right now struggle by feeling less than because somebody else is achieving. And going back to our Mr. Beast example, let that kind of be your path. One of my good friends, and he's a highly successful guy out in Seattle, and he says, there is nothing wrong with doing well by being good. Naveen has made billions of dollars, but he also started Global X Prize, which is an amazing organization that creates opportunities for really highly impoverished countries. There's nothing wrong with doing well by being good. All of us have that in us. Go out there and find what you really resonate with, want to make a difference, and then use the social media outlet as your outlet of good, not just comparison and jealousy. Guys, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. I'm going to stick around later. If anybody has any crazy ideas you want to bounce off of me, please see me. Other than that, turn it back to your principal.